Let's continue the topic of limiting beliefs with the 5 shadows that hold you back, not only in achieving your goals, but also in thriving, in being happy, successful, and realizing your full potential. Those shadows are not necessarily evil or negative. Those are beliefs, behaviors, emotions that once protected you, but now are not serving you. And probably one of the most important life projects we all have as human beings in the AI era, where we see ourselves with so much time, with so much opportunity to work on ourselves, is to transform our shadows. In my mind, the most important task we have as humans is to transform our shadows and thus create a better world. These shadows are not only limitations that manifest our reality. A lot of the evil that we see in the world comes from these collective shadows. The first one are limiting beliefs. Those are ideas that you have about yourself, the world, and your place in this world that were formed through early conditioning, emotional experiences, and biases. Those beliefs are reinforced by habitual thoughts. These are beliefs about who you are, what you're capable of, what you deserve. Those are also beliefs about your parents. Your parents might have been horrible to you, yet when we see our parents as horrible and not as successful, when we don't manage to make peace with our parents, there is this underlying feeling of not deservedness or of limiting beliefs and not enoughness, because we are a product of our parents and we know that. And even though they might have been horrible to us, it's important to make peace. Here, I would like to emphasize again that this program, it's not a substitute for therapy, and therapy is probably the best thing you can do for yourself. This program is taking you step by step towards designing a career, business, and life that you love. How do we transform limiting beliefs? First, you need to spot them. And trust me, this might sound easy, but it's not as easy as you might think. How do we spot limiting beliefs? The best way to spot limiting beliefs is to identify areas in our life where we're not doing great. Let me give you an example. I'm not doing great in marketing. Not only I'm not getting the results, but I'm not putting so much action and so much effort into marketing. I have a limiting belief that I'm not likable. And because marketing is putting myself out there, I'm not doing it. So, do you see the process? You find an area in your life where you're not doing great. And you start looking for a feeling and then a thought or a belief or an idea attached to that feeling, and you write it down. So, our first step is to spot the limiting belief and write it down. Careful, don't overanalyze it. Don't start thinking, oh, I have this limiting belief because this is what happened in my childhood. No, you just spot it, you define it, and you don't overanalyze it. Your second step is to flip that belief, to rewrite it or reframe it in a way which is believable, honest, and authentic for you. Let me give you an example. I would say I'm good enough, I'm likable, and each day I'm making effort to get better marketing. I could say I'm the most likable person in the world, I'm the most charismatic person in the world. Would that work? No. Flipping or rewriting your limiting belief into a power statement has to be believable for you. It has to be authentic, and it has to feel really good. The number one rule or the number one criteria to let you know you have flipped your limiting belief is when you have this power statement, you feel so good about it. You feel this kind of warmth and bliss and freedom. And the third step is to embody it, to start working and showing up in the world in this new way. In my example with marketing, my limiting belief was I'm not likable. My power statement or my flip of the limiting beliefs is I'm good enough, I'm likable, and I'm improving my marketing skills. And the way I embody this is by spending 20 minutes each week to work on my marketing goals. The next shadow has two sides, the inner critic and the inflated ego. The inner critic is that voice in our mind which judges, doubts, and undermines confidence. I just want to point out that while overcoming the inner critic is very important, this should in no way lead to us not doing our best. In today's business and workforce, one of the biggest problems is lack of quality. And some research shows that young people are delivering even less and less and less quality work. So quality is diminishing. Transforming your inner critic is important, but never stop striving to improve, to get better at what you do. Here is a short technique which is very powerful in transforming your inner critic. Picture your inner critic as a creature on your right shadow. Hear its voice. If you're not auditory or language is not like your main way of thinking, this might be a bit difficult, but still, picture your inner critic and hear its voice. Then picture how your inner critic is shrinking, it's becoming smaller, and hear its voice getting quieter and quieter. So let me give you an example. If my inner critic is saying, "You're never going to finish this program, you're taking so long," I would picture it, then I would make it smaller, and I will hear its voice shrinking. "You're never going to finish this program." So until you visualize this, you make this visualization until your inner critic is super small and his voice is almost impossible to hear. The flip side of the inner critic is the overinflated ego. Usually the overinflated ego is when you feel that others are not recognizing you and are not giving you credit. How do you know if you have overinflated ego? Well, usually those are people who believe everyone is conspiring against them, people are jealous of them, people are not giving them credit, or people are afraid of their talents. So if this is the case, you might consider doing the transformation visualization for the inner critic. Here is how it goes, the transformation visualization for the inner critic. What you might do is picture yourself as a child. See yourself how you're dressed, where you are, how you look like as a 3 or 6-year-old child. Feel unconditional love for that child. And then see that child making something stupid or something funky or making a mistake, and react to that mistake from a place of unconditional love. Trust me, your first reaction will not be of unconditional love, but then just make an effort and see what would be the reaction from a place of love. This is the short visualization to temper and deal with the overinflated ego. The third shadow is emotional algorithms. This is how we manage and regulate our emotions, but also this is the prevailing emotion that we feel in our days. I have worked with a lot of young people whose prevailing emotion is apathy, slight depression, or irritation. It's something that has prevented them take action for years and has become a mental health issue. So how do we transform feelings which are unproductive for us? And how do we, of course, understand if we have those feelings? In your guidebook, you have some more information about this, but here what you need to figure out are what are your emotional triggers? What are situations in which you respond way too emotional or which trigger negative emotions such as anger, fear, self-doubt? What are situations or what are even people or type of personalities which provoke uncomfortable emotions? When that happens, breathe in from your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. And think about how your ideal self would react in this situation. Let me give you an example. I get very easily angry when people are not meeting deadlines. When my former IT team was not meeting deadlines, I would yell at them at the phone and really do things which were hurting my reputation and my relationship with them. What I did is I understood that this emotional trigger is related to the fact that I don't have trust in them that they will do the work. I know that the emotional trigger is someone being late. When it happens, I will inhale, slowly exhale, and I would ask myself what my ideal self would do. And my ideal self would have a very calm and assertive tone and explain the consequences of being late. The fourth shadow are behavioral algorithms. Those are habits which are depriving us from energy, such as eating too much sugar, not sleeping enough, drinking energy drinks. Those are addictions. Those are things which deprive us from energy and discipline. And we're going to talk about them in the power skill training because it's a very big topic and we don't have time to touch it today. The final shadow is your self-image, the mental picture you have of yourself, your appearance, your ability, and your self-worth. And by the way, the self-image is probably one of the greatest predictors of success. People of less talent who see themselves as successful are more likely to succeed than people with talent and expertise who don't see themselves as successful. Again, what are the 3 steps that you can transform your self-image? Same as the limiting beliefs. Spot. So write the sentence which you think about yourself, such as, I'm not going to be a good entrepreneur, or I cannot be an entrepreneur. Then flip it. I can be whatever I want, and I'm working to be a great entrepreneur. Start working like it. Think like, how would my ideal entrepreneurial self act in this situation? It's very important to act in new ways, because when you remain only in your head, nothing changes. The way that you transform both limiting beliefs and self-image is by showing up in new ways and by making new actions, because this is feeding back your nervous system and it's giving the feedback that you're changing. Here is your transformation challenge of 3 steps. Number 1, reflect. And by the way, you can do that in your guidebook. You have all these steps for this challenge and you can write it out in your guidebook. So write your story. Write what you have been told you can't, you're not, and you will not have. Identifying the characters or the voices that say this. Is it your parents? Is it teachers? Is it classmates? Is it friends? And incorporate them in your story. So once upon a time, there was this girl, Elitsa, me, and all her classmates were telling her that she's ugly. And as she grew up, she believed she cannot do marketing. So this is just a quick example. Reflect, write down the story. Reframe. As mentioned before, flip the whole narrative. Seize the limiting beliefs and reframe them into power statement. I'm not talented, I am enough, and I am developing my talent. Again, a power statement, it's not a super inflated ego statement. It's a statement that makes you feel really good, empowered, and happy with it. And embody the new behaviors in which you show up, making the new power statement, the new belief true. And connect to the emotion, how good it feels to feel confident and to shoot TikTok videos, how good it feels to know that you're talented and go and work on your piano or singing lessons. Just do the new behavior and connect with the positive feeling that it brings you. Your next steps are to do the challenge in your guidebook, and as a bonus one, you might want to choose a ritual or protocol for one of the shadows to transform it. Why? Because doing the challenge is helpful, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's super important for you to start taking consistent action. I'm so happy we were together in this video, and I hope you will enjoy the challenge in your guidebook and choose one protocol or ritual to transform your shadow.